There is a man outside the house. He observes your every move. He watches you closely and eventually he knocks on your door and asks if you are home alone. If you don't let him in, he will start taunting you from the outside, killing armed military squads, and then uses body parts to instill fear and panic. He continues watching you from the outside. It is difficult not to focus on him and take your mind off of him and his terrifying actions. He constantly harasses you and even tries coming into the house, never giving up. This man is a visitor. A terrifying creature the government has been warning the public about. Entities that have recently crawled up from underneath the ground after the overall global temperatures increased. Through more conversations with him, behind a mask of terror and trauma, he slowly reveals why he specifically has targeted the protagonist and why he never gives up. The very first encounter we have with this strange entity is through looking at him from the window, who just stands idly, staring directly at us. The protagonist makes the remark that he has strange folds on his body, as if his flesh is the wrong size or as if he is wearing someone else's skin. Through a dialogue with the bearded man, he also tells us that these visitors wear other people's skins. This doesn't align with what we learn later in the game, that the visitors are simply humans who have been exposed to a biological agent, causing them to become these hostile abnormal entities who disguise themselves as humans, and then when we are in the most vulnerable situation, they attack. This biological agent is later unveiled to be a brain parasite which causes the people to lose their mind, and they even infect others in close proximity to them. Through the radio, we also hear that anyone can become infected and anyone is at risk of becoming a visitor. Keep in mind, the message on the TV we get of brain parasites or insects crawling in and out of the ear is a message sent through hijacking the news channel, so some anonymous individuals pass this message even though the government tried to hide it. We even encounter a scientist who claims to have been working for FEMA and the government, who discovers the visitors are infected humans by a strange brain parasite. On the other hand, we learn and hear the claims that visitors are alien-like entities who have crawled out from underneath the ground as the sun started heating up and the temperature started to soar. And then again, we hear some other people that these alien-like entities steal the skin of real people and wear them to disguise themselves as them and trick homeowners into letting them in. So if you ask me, it's a very convoluted backstory about the visitors, with all of them conflicting with each other. One specific aspect of the visitors still baffles me till now. The visitors are powerful human-like entities or even humans who are infected, who have no problem breaking doors down or killing any person easily. As we look through the window, we even see the tall pale man, or also known as the super visitor, having killed a number of teenagers, and then soon after, a professionally trained armed military squad. However, when he knocks on the door desperately trying to get in to kill the protagonist, he simply doesn't enter if there are others within the house. Nothing can really stop him. Guns, a heavy sturdy door, or even a powerful person. He easily gets in. To make matters even stranger, if we invite him in, even when there are others in the house, he still comes in to kill the protagonist. So clearly, number of people is not of concern to him, but rather, the invitation of the protagonist is important. If the protagonist doesn't let him in, he simply won't be getting inside. But also, when we don't invite him in, having no one in the house, he invites himself in and kills the protagonist. So in order to prevent him from getting in, is by refusing to open the door for him and actually having people in the house. It's surely bizarre why he targets people who are lonely in their house, while at the same time, he kills groups of people in the outside. Much later, we learn this entity claims to be part of a society or a community, as if being part of a bigger visitor group who is specifically ordered to target certain people. So maybe he isn't allowed to enter the houses of people who are in a group. Maybe it is a safety measure for him to stay alive and unaffected. Or maybe he simply is having a principle. My other theory is that there is some sort of a curse which specifically prevents him and people like him from breaking into people's homes who are not alone and who specifically don't invite them in. This aligns with some mythology revolving around vampires who need to be invited in before coming into a place and attacking a person. They have no issue doing it outside, but coming in requires someone inviting them in. It's some sort of an unexplained curse which might have something to do with religion or supernatural. On the TV, they initially report this man to be a fearsome and horrifying entity who kills many people and sometimes wears their skin. So, is he an alien who wears people's skin, or is he simply a human being who likes to take off the skins of his victims and wear them on top of his own existing skin? Eventually, we get a knock from this bizarre individual who wears a menacing smile from the get-go. His face doesn't seem to match him. His eyes are fixated in two different directions, and his skin doesn't seem to fit him. As soon as we tell him we will not let him in, he shifts the conversation into a more threatening manner, trying to get under the protagonist's skin. He threatens how sturdy he thinks his door is, and the illusion of safety is nothing but a figment of imagination in his head, as the entity can at any minute break down the door and kill the protagonist. The implication is always there on the table, and the creepy background soundtrack specifically designed for the super visitor starts to set in, always warning of an inevitable demise. The visitor stops diddle-daddling and asks if the protagonist is alone. The protagonist says that he's not alone, which the visitor realizes to be the truth. He listens in closely and realizes that there are whispers of others in the house. His smile is wiped from his face. He wants so badly to break in, but he knows he cannot, and promises to be back in a few days, as he implies the people in his house could die, get killed, or even get taken by FEMA. The visitor is not as oblivious as it might seem. If anything, he has really sharp hearing and an insane level of intelligence, playing with the protagonist like a little toy. He knows how to read the protagonist and understands if he tells the truth or not, as when the protagonist lies when he is alone, the visitor fully knows that he is lying. That's all while talking to him from behind the door and not even looking at the protagonist. This entity is fully confident in himself and his abilities and doesn't care if the protagonist has a gun, combat training, or anything else, as he knows he can easily take on the protagonist. Next time we see this visitor is when the heavily armed military squad is butchered with barely any effort. A body part of one of the victims is held in the pale man's hand, who just simply stands outside of the protagonist's farmhouse, staring directly at him with a menacing smile. This all seems to have been an act to get under the protagonist's skin, to make him feel the impending doom and the fear of inevitable death. This pale man is on a mission to kill the protagonist, and nothing seems to stop him. Next time the pale man knocks on the door, he is more diplomatic. He tries to reason with the protagonist to just give up, as survival is hopeless. He unveils that the world is falling apart. On one hand, the FEMA, a government-funded organization, is taking people to heavily controlled quarantine zones where they perform experiments on them. And on the other, there are visitors who kill, skin, and then eventually disguise themselves as their victims. To put a cherry on top, there are vigilantes who kill people with no mercy. As the pale man describes it, dogs rule the world now, and only dogs survive now. And by the sounds of it, the protagonist is not one of those. He is an merciless and brutal individual to survive in this unforgiving new world. The pale man talks in a soft voice, as if being caring and concerned for the protagonist, telling him to just open the door and be done with it. Thinking about it logically, the pale man is not wrong. What is the point of pushing life for a few extra days, weeks, or months? That is all while living in constant fear and misery. There's no food, no real human connection anymore, rather than just being suspicious at all times or just being violent. There's a mysterious biological disease that could make anyone become a visitor. The visitors are merciless themselves. There are humans who have lost their minds and go on killing, and the sun is brutal, burning people alive. Would it be too bad to die under the hands of this entity who acts like a gentle giant trying to deliver mercy to us? The crazy level of manipulation and change of tactic reveals this entity is far more intelligent than we could have ever imagined. Is it actually a brain parasite making him become so smart? Or is he a part of a higher intelligent alien community who have actually crawled up from underneath the ground? It seems to be true that he is infected, or at least having the ability to infect, as when we talk to the bearded man, he confirms someone became infected after getting exposed to the pale man. So this is a confirmation that these individuals have lost their own consciousness after getting infected by the brain parasite, which controls them to the point of giving them a different sort of personality. It seems as if these brain parasites are intelligent themselves, and as a way of survival and procreation, they infect the host, who then manage to access parts of the brains that the person person themselves couldn't access, as if unlocking the full capacity of the brain and making the individual much more cunning and intelligent. These parasites seem to even form their communities after infecting a host and often are seen to work together. Then they go ahead and expose themselves to more human hosts, who then catch the parasites, and then they spread like wildfire. The whole idea of these entities crawling out of the ground could be the first sightings of the first infected, who could have potentially picked up the parasites from the soil, and the conditions became ideal for these parasites to flourish as the temperatures soar on Earth, becoming too hot. These specific species of parasites were found in the soil and would understandably infect people who are surrounded by soil, such as farmers or people who live in farmlands. There is so much evidence for the entities to be actually infected individuals who had picked up brain parasites, and the other theories were initially formulated without much prior investigation and studies, misunderstanding the nature of these infected individuals, thinking they are supernatural or alien-like beings. The fact that someone even suggested that they take the skin of humans could be a complete misunderstanding of how they behave, as these infected individuals could be dramatically losing weight after getting infected, leading to excess skin and folds. Or maybe some do wear the skin of their victims, but there is not much evidence to back that theory up rather than rumors going around. Next time we encounter the super visitor again, he confirms if there would be a visitor inside the house, they would open the door for him, as he implies that there are parasites within them who communicate somehow together. He refers to the parasite as dogs residing within their bodies. This visitor then goes on a mysterious and puzzling rant that even their breed is a rare sight now, as if suggesting that the visitors are actually being killed and destroyed, whether by FEMA, the vigilantes, or others. He then unveils that he is not but a part of a much larger organization and he simply takes orders. So it seems there is a sophisticated visitor community and organization, and they carefully hunt people down not to raise any suspicion against themselves. Maybe that's why they enter empty homes with lonely homeowners, so that they can leave no tracks behind and add more members to their community. A community which has a leader and orders other exploring visitors to carefully target certain individuals so that their breed doesn't die out. These are some super intelligent brain parasites. Even the identifying signs align with how a parasitic infection could show itself. Skin irritation, bleeding gums, red eyes, the parasites themselves crawling in the ears, dirt under the nails, a strange aura when taking photos, and hairless armpits, which could be the result of parasites making the hair follicles get damaged. The last time the super visitor knocks on the door, he reveals that this would be the last time, as the end is near, whether the visitors will win and take over the world, or whether their species will die out, with people winning, yet the world never being the same again. The visitor then reveals, as if in a friendly way, that he is here to make the protagonist free and to not feel so lonely. He wants to help the protagonist take matters into his own hands, and he doesn't seem to be lying now. He thinks he is helping the protagonist. It seems as if he wants to make a change and free the protagonist, at least in his own perspective. Eventually, he bids the protagonist farewell if he is not alone this time, and leaves to never come back again. So it is revealed these parasites are somehow connected to each other. When opening the door for the super visitor, he clearly kills the protagonist and his consciousness leaves, so we won't know what will follow apart from the fact that no corpse is found in his house. So in my opinion, the super visitor is a host, while the consciousness and the intelligent being within is the parasite. These parasites are some sort of sentient being that use the corpses of humans to reanimate them and infect them, to inject their own consciousness, and in their own terms, they free the bodies from the restrictions of human control over them. These bodies are nothing but a husk which the parasites can use better in their advantage. The super visitor has been sent on this mission to specifically target the protagonist and free him from himself, so he can feel free, not alone anymore, and to be more decisive and take matters into his own hands. And that is simply by joining the visitors. So the Pale Man is simply a messenger sent on a mission to free the protagonist so that his full potential is unlocked. To these parasites, the body of the protagonist seems like it's being wasted away, so he lives a lonely and depressing life, full of resentment from his abusive father, just caging himself in his own house, avoiding contact with others. What do you think about the Pale Man? Let me know what your theories are down in the comments below. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.